Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Listen, everyone's staring at the candles and asking when moon, but the pros are watching pipes. This week, XRP moved deeper into the infrastructure layer, approved as acceptable collateral on a CFTC regulated venue, while Ripple's Ripple dollar quietly pushed past the billion. I know we talked about it. I know we posted about it, but I'm not sure enough people are paying attention to that. And Japan's reverse carry pressure and the SBI Ripple ties, and you got placement before repricing. I'm not sure if they're talking about Yoshitaka Katao enough, SBI and that Ripple, the Ripple ties to that. That SBI is a conglomerate. Why else would a dude be hanging out with the finance minister and Secretary Bessent for the United States? So listen, I'm going to show receipts where quarters could light up and exactly which on-chain and market metrics I'm watching for institutional accumulation versus the retail noise. I cannot wait to share this little bit of information today with you guys. Appreciate you guys checking in. Do me a favor, hit that like button. That will be super, super dope. Hit the like button on the way in. We always like to have just as many likes as we got viewers in the stream. It's kind of a quiet week price wise for XRP, but are we really paying attention to what's really going on? It's quiet price week for everybody. It's been a quiet week in terms of price for all the assets. But this move by Bitnomio is bigger than what people are really realizing or paying attention to. It's a big move. It really is a big move, and people are not understanding the significance. Remember back in the day, 2017, we were all excited about exchange listing. Get this asset on this exchange. We were all excited about Coinbase listing. This is bigger. This XRP and the Bitnomio, the CFTC regulated derivatives exchange or platform, getting XRP along with Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's just three, and have it be listed in a tier as a collateral asset is absolutely massive. Institutions are not going to tell you this, but it is absolutely massive for XRP holders for sure. I'm going to talk about Brad Garlinghouse's news later today, maybe after um, my webinar today. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that thing is 4 hours. So, but anyway, maybe I'll cover that. It's kind of big news on this semi-approval, conditional approval. It's a big deal. So maybe we'll cover that later in the live stream later today. Hit the like button on the way in. That'd be awesome. That would be super duper dope if you could do that. And well, I'll say that later. I do want to say that the market is just, it's just doing what it does, man. The market is just doing what it does. Um, Hopefully we can continue to strengthen our resolve through this choppiness, through Bitcoin not being able to make up its mind what it's doing. Altcoins are completely beholden to the macro, not just Bitcoin, but the altcoins especially need a liquidity injection and all these macro events to take place before we get a true alt season. It is kind of what it is, but at least we know we can prepare ahead of time when we take profits and these type of things, because waiting this every 3 4 5 years for something is challenging, especially if you're unprepared. But we're prepared this time, and we'll stack away and we'll grow and we'll create cash flow from this run in preparation for the next one, because we understand the cycle, the business cycle, which is more important. Gone are the days of the 4-year Bitcoin cycle, right? Those are gone, right? And so I hope you guys understand that those things are gone. This is a new day. It is a new day for sure. So I'm going to get into this a little bit. Appreciate you guys again checking in. Happy Friday. Yeah, that's right. I'll be on business event for hours Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday night too. So listen, tonight we're not chasing candles. We're checking the plumbing. I'm going to lay out why collateral status matters way more than a headline listing. If you don't understand what I mean, go to my X page, check out the post there at crypto_CEJ, right? Collateral status matters way more than a headline listing. Also, why the Ripple Dollars growth is strategic, how Japan's reverse carry feeds into all of this. This reverse carry is a significant. Remember, Japan's largest holder of this debt, U.S. Debt, right? And exactly what metrics I'm tracking going forward. If this helps, do me a favor. Drop plumbing in the chat. Watching it on replay. Drop plumbing in the replay so that I know that you watch this. This is really, it's a big, big deal. This is our dream come true for those of us that are XRP holders who might never ever want to sell all of our XRP, right? Just be able to keep a vast majority of it. And so this collateral listing is massive. And for me personally, just on a little price tip, a $2 to $15 XRP. When Ethereum is $3,100, when Bitcoin is 90,000, for me in my home, I'm thinking, man, yeah, I got to be careful because YouTube is cracking down on stuff. But yeah, especially for XRP channels and claims. So we got to be careful. Not financial advice. I'm just thinking to myself, holy smoly, holy smoly. I'm just thinking about it that way. Again, Bitnomio, do your homework, do due diligence, do your research. Why XRP being listed as a collateral asset on Bitnomio, a CFTC derivatives exchange, is massive move forward. So listen, collateral isn't a hype badge. Collateral is bank risk infrastructure. It lives where margin, haircuts, and tri-party agreements live. When an asset is accepted as collateral, it's being trusted inside a risk engine. Let me say that again. When an asset is accepted as collateral, it's being trusted inside a risk engine. It can be posted for margin. It takes a haircut based on liquidity and volatility. It can sit in tri-party custody, being or between a clearing venue, a custodian, and the trading firm. Ripple Stack, massively important. Ripple Prime, G Treasury, Rail, BNY Mellon, custodying the Ripple dollar. You see, things are lining up. So listen, translation. This is the pipes behind the wall, not the water coming out of the faucet. If you're in the collateral set, institutions are saying, we can model you, we can settle you, and we can rely on you in a stress scenario. Shout out to my boys from Love for Crypto, who came up with this whole idea and concept way before any of the entertaining content creators for XRP came into the scene. Any of them. Let me say it again. If you're in the collateral set, institutions are saying, we can model you, we can settle you, and we can rely on you in a stress scenario. It's important to understand it. Why collateralized assets re-rate. Think from the institutional lens. So here's the next key idea. Collateralized assets often re-rate over time. That's always going to be the challenge for XRP holders until it's no longer the challenge for XRP holders. These assets often re-rate over time. Why? Because big players need fewer higher value units. Fewer higher value units to carry larger notional flows. If a desk needs to move billions through a margin system, a low value, thin liquidity asset is a headache. The system naturally prefers tighter spreads, deeper books, and high dollar value units. So collateral doesn't chase speculation. The role forces valuation. As usage increases for settlement and margin, float tightens, and price has to adjust to do the job being done. It's all this wind moon and price doesn't move, and people on X, any good news comes out, and then someone on X in the thread on X will post, yeah, but the prices, yeah, yet the prices don't understand. They don't understand. But do you understand? So what does collateral really do when it comes to supply? Important nuance here. Collateral gets locked, not flipped. When an institution posts an asset as collateral, those units aren't ping-ponging on retail exchanges. They sit in custody, in quarter wallets, in credit lines. That removes liquid supply from the open market. Again, we pointed a number of times to Ripple's latest blog where they said they were going to be introducing collateralized lending for XRP. That's why we covered that in the blog post several times. So think about that. They sit in custody in quarter wallets and credit lines. That removes liquid supply from the open market. And you pair that with growing institutional demand, and you don't just get spikes, you get higher floors. This is the thing that we've talked about years and years ago, and it's coming into fruition, but there's still a few boxes that have to be checked for us to kind of, have that realization come true, right? The Ripple dollar thing was important, right? So that was an important move for Ripple. It was kind of smart. So Ripple dollar growth is strategic. The growth here isn't just a vanity metric. It's treasury plumbing. Stable coins that plug into bank grade custody and Prime, Ripple Prime, make quarters cleaner, faster settlement, simpler accounting, and less slippage when you're crossing currencies. Again, the move for Ripple, we said it about 2 years ago, was deciding to or pivot to stopping this, chasing these banks with this carrot off chain and doing things on chain. Ripple dollar was part of that. So that opens the door for the Ripple dollar and the Japanese yen liquidity pairs and the XRP Ripple dollar routes. This is really, really important to understand that. Why that matters. A quarter with a reliable US dollar stablecoin on one side and the Japanese yen on the other can compress spreads, reduce the settlement frictions, and give institutions a predictable base for FX and remittances. Ripple dollar isn't about retail payments. It's about making professional rails boring and reliable. This is why Ripple keeps talking about institutional DeFi. It's from the institutional lens and how the institutions see things and how they operate and how they move. Right? And so that's exactly what institutions want. They want professional rails that are boring and reliable. Right? So this Japan reverse carry is, stress plus need for speed. Go from 0 to 2 point something percent relatively quick in interest. The free money is no longer a deal. You understand that, right? So now that the macro ties this together, Japan's reverse carry, as Japanese yields rise, capital gets pulled back home. That stresses the legacy FX settlement, spreads widen, collateral demands shift, and everyone suddenly cares about speed and certainty again. This is where the XRPL earns a seat at the table. Fast finality, predictable fees, and purpose-built liquidity tooling. This is what the people at Ripple X have been planning for a minute now. Bailing out that XRPL. Think about that. It's massively important. The Japan reverse carry trade is important. People are not really paying attention. Japan is a major ally Big, significant player in the global macro, especially for the US. Again, let me say it again. This is where the XRPL earns a seat. Fast finality, predictable fees, and purpose-built liquidity tooling. In stress regimes, the market rewards rails that move size quickly and settle cleanly. By the way, on a side note, that whole DTCC, the SEC, what was it? I forget what they call that. Anyway, the SEC and the CFT, not the DTCC. Anyway, we'll cover it again. I forget what they just recently did to allow the DTCC to continue with this pilot. It's bigger than what I initially thought. So, in stress regimes, the market rewards rails that move size quickly and settle cleanly. That's the brief XRPL was designed to meet. It's coming together in a big way if people are patient and if people understand that XRP, no matter what we want to say, is still an asset, it's still an altcoin. And until the dynamics of the crypto changes, until it changes, we have to deal with these 4 or 5 year things. But when it changes, it's going to be one of the 3 top assets for collateral, and that means everything. It means everything. So listen, don't chase candles. Track the tells. So these are some things that we want to watch for, like institutions and not tourists. Okay. Depth and spreads. Look at the top of the book size and 1% depth on XRP and JPY and the XRP RLUSD. We have metrics. We got platforms that can track that. You know that. We can pay attention to that. Is the fiat leak one? I think is a very, very good one, but we can check it, right? And see. If the depth grows and spreads tightens on reputable venues, pipes are being used. The custody and Ripple Prime is a big deal. Bank grade custody announcements, more coming. Tri-party collateral arrangements and prime brokerage features. So the thing that's really important, I think, is watch for the phrase eligible collateral. We keep getting another institution or platform saying XRP is this eligible collateral. It's going to be important. And we're going to pay attention to the Ripple dollar and Japanese yen pairs, the XRP, the RUSD, and the XRP and JPY. Pay attention to those liquidity corridors. It's going to be important. If we get settlement partners, remittance lines, or treasury pilots going public, another thing to look for. Now, we've kind of had this one on these balances and these flows. The exchange outflows of XRP, that's been happening in a big time way, but they're going into custody. It's not us trading amongst ourselves. Paying attention more and more to the growth of the Ripple dollar supply and the flows onto venues that actually host the pairs that we just named. Ripple dollar, and we know it's 75%, 85%, whatever it is on Ethereum. We want the flows. We want the flows, right? The derivatives behavior. Open interest plus basis behavior when spot inflows hit. Institutional footprints like the steady OI growth with controlled funding, not spiky, over-leveraged wipeouts. This is important. So I'm going to welcome some more people in the stream, and it's going to cover a couple more things here. Again, we're blessed that the asset that we hold is being recognized in the institutional lens as a valuable asset. It's important to understand that. 200 Ray. Hey, what up, OG? The narrative is becoming the change. It's beginning to change. The world is beginning to change. And it's happening. For now, the price is nothing but a distraction and uninformative. Yes, sir. That's right. Good old Greg Cake from back in 2018. Remember that? What's going on, 200? What's that, S200 Ray? How are you? Pookie's in the building. What's up? What's up? CJ, did you see Brad Garlinghouse' latest tweet on the conditional acceptance for banking licenses? Yes, I sure did. Z_007. What's up, bro? Nah, no. I'm a little annoyed with Flare for lagging, and now they lost the edge. Solana now offering DeFi for XRP. Kind of. I mean, it's Hex Trust. Firelight not even yielding yet. Yeah, it's fine. Their strategy is flawed now because they are no longer unique. Yeah, not really. They are still unique. The chain is unique, right? So Flare, that blockchain is unique. It's still the blockchain for data. The data protocols, those enshrined data calls. Solana doesn't have that. Solana is on speed. The metric is speed, and it's speed, and it's speed, and it's speed. Even when Fire Dancer comes around, right? So XRPL, the Flare Network's blockchain is a different animal, unto itself, man, unto itself. And you saw the latest couple of posts from Flare and Hugo about these different chains. I'm going to cover that in a live stream, how they're adopting the other chains as well. In the end, in my view, Flare Networks wins out because of massive security, massive scalability potential, and sticking to an ethos of decentralization. And that is massively important. You give the uniqueness of their protocols, the FTC, FTSO, these enshrined data protocols. It has an advantage. It has a unique advantage over Solana. Solana is a different chain for different things. It'll win, but Flare's in its own spot for sure. Rick Cisneros is in the building. What's going on, bro? CJ, also remember a brand new insurance system is coming to World on Firelight with Firelight on Flare, which has never been done before. It's just a matter of time before all state insurance and Berkshire Hathaway come in. Oh, I hear that. That'd be sweet. And that's another advantage, uh, Ray, S200 Ray, that Flare has as well. This institution building on Flare for a reason. Right. It's a big time reason why they're doing that. Appreciate you guys checking in. Do me a favor, hit that like button if you didn't get a chance to do so. No worries. Just collapse the chat real quick. Go smash that like button. Come hang out with the Crypto Siege and family. Yeah. Z07 said, sure, it is unique, but now liquidity will be split between Solana and Flare. Of course. Yeah. It's split now. There are FLR holders and there's SOL holders. It's split now, right? Of course. And it doesn't have to be a zero sum thing, right? We'll see what that hex trust thing is going to be all about. But for me, the institution that come on Flare will speak louder than anything else. You know that, right? Will speak louder than anything else. I can't wait to tell you when I get to that million, Pookie. I can't wait. I'm thinking February-ish. We'll see some little changes. We'll see some changes. Right? All right. So let me continue on here because I think this is important that we understand really kind of like how we're thinking as XRP holders and FLR holders and how that works, right? So here's the mindset I want us to hold. Placement before price. Collateral status means the asset now lives where risk managers, treasurers, and market structure people make decisions. Right? So that's slow to show up on charts until it isn't. As collateral uses expands and quarters activate, the re-rate tends to show up first as higher floors, then cleaner trend structure, and only later as the eye-catching candles everyone tweets about. Got to know, this is part of knowing what it is that you hold. And for me, thank God the Flare Networks is building out this XRP5 for XRP holders. So if we don't want to, we don't have to sell all of our XRP. We can cash flow some of it as well and continue to hold this valuable asset. Remember, we're holding an asset that appreciates. It's an asset, number one, that's being recognized in the world stage as an asset, but this is an asset that appreciates in value. Right? That's important. Right? It's important that we have that. Dirty Nasty Fiat is not doing that. I would argue, is it even still an asset? To be frank, right? So my thing is, stop asking why isn't XRP pumping, and start asking which pipe just connected. right? Track the depth, the custody, the quarters, and balances, right? I think that's important. Treat the Ripple dollar stablecoin growth as infrastructure progress, not headline hype. It's there to tighten quarters and standardize settlement, especially against, this is just me thinking, especially against the Japanese yen. Respect the macro. This is not Bitcoin cycles. This is about the business cycle. If Japan's reverse carry keeps pressuring legacy FX, speed plus certainty will command a premium. Let us not forget about the boys over at Ripple showing up at the current administration's house. Like, again, that's important. What is this thing, this XRPL? What is it? What can it do? How can it help in the bigger picture? All of this stuff. You think they're not asking these questions. They're not thinking about a retail trade on Coinbase. You don't understand? They didn't bring in, I'm gonna put it to you this way. They didn't bring in day traders or swing traders, right? That's not who they brought over to the White House. You understand? You understand? They didn't bring in TA guys. Okay. So listen, just a wrap. I'm just going to wrap kind of my thinking here up for you guys. Collateral equals bank risk rails. It's not a hype badge. Collateralized assets often re-rate because the job they perform requires higher value units. And again, shout out to the boys over for Love for Crypto. To be the first ones to think the bigger picture to it all. Then the entertaining content creators came in and kind of copied that, but it came from those guys originally. Came from that guy driving in his truck doing videos. Came from that dude. Came from his partner in crime. Collateralized assets often re-rate because the job they perform requires higher value units. The Ripple dollar growth is a strategic plumbing move, a cleaner base for quarters like the Ripple dollar and Japanese yen. And Japan's reverse carry is their macro shove that makes speed and certainty matter. The Japan's reverse carry is the macro shove that makes speed and certainty matter. Again, my little phrase I've always said, the XRP is the only XRPL is the only blockchain that I've ever heard anyone say it can move, quote unquote, anything of value in 3 to 5 seconds for less than a penny. That certainty, that speed, that low cost is significant, right? This is where the XRPL is the strongest. It's not the fanciest with all these smart contracts, but it's that certainty. Anything of value, 3 to 5 seconds, less than a penny. So don't chase the candles, man. Track depth, track the custody, listen for new quarters, check the balances. That's how institutions move, and that's how we stay early. I do these live streams every day to remind us, to help to remind us that we're early in this game and that things out there in crypto X can be a distraction. It's important that you know what it is that you hold. This is why I use the phrase, become a sophisticated investor. Stop messing around with this trading. Become a sophisticated investor. Go on the journey of becoming a sophisticated investor. It's important. It'll keep you on track. It'll help you strengthen your intestinal fortitude. These assets are valuable. This is a new financial system in which there will be designated, announced, and recognized valuable assets. XRP just got on that list, in my humble opinion, just got on that list, along with Bitcoin and Ethereum, by this recent announcement of Binomio listing XRP as collateral on its derivatives platform. Only 3 now. Out of all, you could talk about how many cryptos there are, how many altcoins are out there. Only 3. It's important that XRP got on there. And by the way, as much as I love Solana, Solana didn't get there. As much as I love Sui and all that amazing technology they got going on there with Deep and Walrus and all the amazing stuff they got to onboarding this billion, okay? Okay? All that stuff, awesome. 3 assets, right? There's tiers to this asset listing. Collateral is like right up there, like number 4 out of 5. This just getting listed on an exchange as a tradable asset is number 2 or 1 or 2. It doesn't tier up to collateral asset, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. Got to know what it is that you hold. Don't get distracted by these prices and all this other stuff. If you know what it is that you hold, you're holding it for the long term. Now, I get it. Years back, what did we have? We didn't have an opportunity to cash flow this asset. We didn't have an opportunity to lend and borrow against it. We didn't have that. But now we do. And this will help to create cash flow, right, for the years that it takes to get to the next alt season. You understand? Rick says, CJ, it is a multi-chain world. The more use cases for XRP and the XRPL, the better. And positive for blockchains like Solana plus XRP working together means we are moving in the right direction. 1,000%. Getting that asset XRP recognized as a valuable asset is massive. It started with Flare. And for me, it starts and ends with Flare. For me, with my XRP. Now, I'll take a gander over whatever that Solana thing is going to look like. But for me, it starts and ends on Flare Networks because they most align with my overall ethos, which is true decentralization, tied to the intermediaries, true decentralization, true scalability, true security, and give me something to do with my asset to create cash flow, to create a lifestyle. That's Flare Networks for me and my XRP. You'll have to make your own decision. But if you got any questions about that, you can join the Patreon where we talk Flare DeFi, right? Patreon.com/Golf Whiskey Whiskey Mastermind. We talk Flare DeFi in the greater, bigger picture. It's important. Johnson Rose says, by slipped, did you mean strategically placed? I think so. Pookie, did you mention some CDP, CJ? No, I have not done that yet, Brad. Did you get a chance to do a Pookie? Let me see here. I'm gonna share this real quick. I'm gonna do a live stream about this later. Let me see. Do I want to share this real quick? Yeah, let me share this real quick because people kind of don't look at the Solana thing as competition. Look at it as this whole asset class winning. We want the asset class to win. You understand? We want Aave to win. We want Firelight to win. We want those who value us and our assets to win. That's not going on in TradFi. You feel like your assets are valued over there? Do you have any assets? Or does old money own all the assets and you're getting sloppy seconds, thirds, and fourths? Let me share this real quick. I'm going to do a video on this post, by the way, just to let you know. Hugo says, building an ecosystem around an asset like XRP is so much more than opening a custodial bridge like the Coinbase XRP and others. Cough, cough. You need seamless on and off boarding to lower the barrier to participation to the absolute minimum. As a starting point, this means that the bridge has to be non-custodial. What do you think this is in response to? This is in response to this Hex Trust thing. This is why I'm saying it's important. For me, my ethos is true decentralization, non-custodial, true decentralization, security, and scalability. It's important that people get it. It's really important. If you don't have to rely on another party, then why rely on another party? Third party to call them? Why? If you don't have to. As a starting point, this means that the bridge has to be non-custodial, because limiting the minting and redemption ability to the customers of a single exchange or custodian is just disastrous for market formation. Few understand this. As you are not a customer of theirs, do you really want to sell your XRP on an exchange for a stable coin and then withdraw that stable to another chain and then buy their wrapped version of XRP? Do you understand? That's why, and I don't want to throw shade on Hex Trust or anything. I'm just saying, for me and my XRP, the same way I enlightened you guys about Midas and that MXRP thing, you don't hear the XRPL metrics lovers talking about that anymore. Why? Why don't you hear the XRPL and the metrics and everything's got to be XRPL stuff, you, you know, to the detriment of the value of the XRP asset? Why don't you hear those dudes anymore talking about that? There's a reason, right? I haven't gotten the hex trucks. I haven't dived deep into it yet, but this already tells me what I need to know, because this is exactly what Hugo is speaking to. Okay. So anyway, let me read it again. As a starting point, this means that the bridge has to be non-custodial, because limiting the minting and redemption ability to the customers of a single exchange or custodian is just disastrous for market formation. As you, all capital letters, the holders of this asset, aren't a customer of theirs, do you really want to have to sell your XRP on an exchange for a stablecoin and then withdraw that stablecoin to another chain and then buy their wrapped version of XRP? Probably not. Probably not. The second part of the seamlessness is UI and UX. See Bifrost, wallet auction flow, and soon XRP smart accounts. Flare Dev, which changes the game entirely. A cohesive end-to-end economic system for the bridge token. You need all the basic DeFi primitives like SparkDex, Flamex Trade, Enosis Global, Enosis Loans, Kinetic Markets, Spectre Finance, Blaze Swap, Ignite Market X, the prediction spot, right? Then you need something special that brings it all together and provides ecosystem differentiation that makes it significantly different. See Firelight. Then you need to bootstrap liquidity. In reality, this means onboarding the omni-chain version of the world's largest stablecoin. See USDT 0. And of course, working towards having the stablecoin that the community really wants. RLUSD. But none of this works by itself. You have to bootstrap liquidity, because if there isn't enough liquidity, the user experience is terrible and the financial incentives are broken. Check the growth of USDT 0 and RFLR. Then you need to be continually innovating to make both the experience and the production better. See Flare 2.0 and compute, ability to grow, expand. Lastly, you need to be constantly working with partners, new and old, to encourage ecosystem growth. Working on education and both user and developer resources, and marketing the hell out of the ecosystem. See Flare Grants program, or this whatever this latest thing they did, that I was blessed to be one of the first to get that. Working on education and both user and developer resources, and marketing the hell out of the ecosystem, because there is so much going on that making yourself visible is paramount. I may not be great at tracking metrics, like how's the channel growing, but I am good at sharing the bigger picture of an ecosystem that is winning and that is adding value to the end user, which is the asset holders. This is why I talk about Flare every single day. It's a reason for it, because they value the end user without sacrificing non-custodial, decentralization, true security, and scalability. It's harder. It's harder to do it. It takes longer to do it, but it's worth it. And more people are realizing that. More and more people, I'm telling you, more and more people on the outside are looking at Flare and saying, they're doing the hard part, but it's worth it. I promise you, that's what's going on with institutions. Firelight, listen to me. Listen to me for a second. Centaur and the boys, they could have chose anyone they wanted to. Centaur is a big player in this space, especially in DeFi. A big player. They've been working with Ripple for a minute. They could have chose anyone they wanted to. But they see Flare's vision, and they recognize the prowess of XRP. The ecosystem, the chain, the asset, its holders, all of it. The ethos aligned. That's why they hooked up with Flare. I hope you understand that. Will they go to other chains? Of course. But they aligned with Flare for a reason. Partnered with Flare to build out this Firelight for a reason. Because real recognizes real. Right? So then if your aim is to be seamless, or to be the seamless hub for all non-smart contract tokens, you need to repeat the same for Bitcoin and XLM and the rest. Time, team, dedication, and unwavering vision is what is required. That's why I question Hugo on the live stream. Cool, all this technology stuff. I want to know what you see. I want to know what you see. I want to know what's your vision. I want to know, do you have a mantra? Do you have a thing that everyone is gravitating to on this mission? That's why I asked him about his journey as a CEO. I didn't ask him about the Enshrine data protocols. You understand? So anyway, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks hasn't worked. We used to have that saying in business. It doesn't work. I tried to explain that to my business partners years and years ago, that doesn't work. They didn't listen. Anyway, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks hasn't worked historically. How about that? Not even for mega giants like Coinbase. You got to have a kind of firm footing in who you are, right? You got to have this firm footing in knowing who you are, knowing where you're going, and knowing how you're going to get there to make a statement like that. You get it? This is, for me, this is who I want to, when I shove my chips to the center of the table. I'm putting it behind someone like that. Knows who they are, knows where they're going, and knows how they're going to get there. For me, that's Flair, Hugo, and the team and what they're doing. Anyway, this is why Flair is the place to build with XRP. That's good stuff. It's good stuff for my guy, Hugo. Oh, Pookie says you haven't minted yet. Waiting on my walkthrough. Good. We can do it together. We can do it together, Pookie. S200 Ray says, real talk, CJ, real talk. Been dropping in over the years now. I remember you. I don't know why. I remember you, bro. I don't know why YouTube's got these @ symbols instead of the real names. I don't know why, but it's very odd. But I remember you, bro, and I appreciate you being here. Looks like you're keeping well. Yeah, God is good, bro. God is real good. Brick Snell says he hasn't been able to mint yet either, but he will, though. Cool. What's going on, I-Man? What's up, bro? That's right. Rick says, CJ, as Hunter Horsley says, we are no longer crypto versus crypto, but crypto versus TradFi. This is why Solana working with XRP and Flare working with XRP and the XRPL is a positive for the blockchain. 100%, right? The phrase, go to where your assets are treated best, is exactly what that means. How do you feel like when you're walking into your bank? How's that feeling? Feel like you're jumping through hoops? Do you feel like you're a valued customer? You get access to your stuff when you want access to your stuff. That's right, Pookie. Smash the like button. So, guys, I wanted to share that with you guys. I just want you to understand you hold valuable assets. I'm here to let you know a new financial system is being built out. A new one's being built out. Period. That's what it is. They can talk tokenization and the tokenization. Listen, a new financial system is being built out, and in which there will be valuable assets recognized as valuable. And we have an opportunity to own those assets before Wall Street, TradFi, and the masses. Do you recognize the position that you're in? Or are you chasing this price? I tell people, if you got cash flow problems, get cash flow. Right? If you got cash flow problems, awesome. You recognize the problem. Now go get cash flow while you wait. This whole idea of selling the assets to try to get by and all, right? Go get cash flow. Side hustles abound for cash flow. Why? Because there's valuable assets to be had at, in my opinion, significantly discounted prices. So whatever that side hustle thing or whatever to get you some cash flow, whatever that looks like, doesn't matter. Uber, Amazon Flex, what does it matter? Instacart, what does it matter? Side hustle, I don't know. Marketing, network marketing, side hustle, cash flow for a purpose. What's the purpose? Acquiring the assets at discounted prices in a new financial system where you have the opportunity to get access to the asset without nepotism, without being an accredited investor. You understand? That's the opportunity that we have. That's the opportunity that we have. And XRP-Fi is the cherry on top of this access to this opportunity. You understand? That's what we are. That's what we have. That's why I'm so grateful for Flair building this out. No one else did it. Few tried, couldn't make it work. Remember the 10 cents and 11 cents and 12-cent XRP? Remember? I remember. Remember every day we were talking about 4 for a dollar? Whoo, what a blessing. Remember those days? And this is before the asset class was even recognized as being a thing. Now, not only is the asset class being recognized and we're being told that a new financial system is being built, they're now telling us the assets that are going to be the highly valuable. Don't think the price, think of how it's going to be valued as an asset. Check out my latest post today on X about that and how the institutions are seeing Bitcoin, ETH, and XRP as collateral and what it means through their lens. That's important. And remember, this valuable asset recognized by massive institutions, you have access to on a level playing field. If you got the dirty, nasty fiat to get it, you can get it. You don't have to go through an interview. You don't have to submit a resume. You can get it. That's why going on a journey of becoming a sophisticated investor is important. Because if you're on this trader mindset, you're just not going to win here. This is an investor space. All right, fam. I'm gonna hop off here. I appreciate you guys checking in. That's right, I man. It's insane when you think about how much XRP is going to be locked up across all these opportunities. Yep. Yep. And it's no need to have the, the BTC and the XRP maxis. There's no need for it. We want them all to win. We want to win because the old system has been robbing, stealing, and theft and pillaging our wealth for decades. For decades. So there it is. Permissionless, all caps. That's sir. That's right. Living your life permissionless. That's right. All right, fam. I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys checking in. Do me a favor, hit the like button on the way out if you didn't get a chance to do so on the way in. It's been another cool hang. I appreciate you guys. I got to get ready for this webinar. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys for sure. And by the way, if you happen to be in that 50% or so of people that are hanging out, listening to and watching the Crypto Seas, do me a favor. If you've been enjoying those hangouts, please consider subscribing to the channel. We want to get to 10,000 subs this month, and I know we can get there, especially with your help. Will you help us out to get to 10,000 subs? And don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather that we remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating? Or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.